Welcome back or welcome to the channel. Today on 7th Circle Gaming we're going to analyze the game Nightingale. And we'll begin as we always do here in just a moment with full disclosure. And you're welcome to pause the video and read through all of this at your leisure, or if you'd prefer not to, just let the video run. Nightingale provides players with 3 separate biomes to explore, these being forest, swamp, and desert. Regardless of the biome or world that the player is currently exploring, the game world is impressively large, and we're going to touch on the implications of that again a bit later, so stay tuned. For now, let's move on and take a closer look at one of the biomes in this particular game. In this, the second screenshot of the video, there's a couple of things that we notice immediately. First of all, we notice that we're looking at a forest world, and second, we also notice that there's nothing that is entirely unrelatable. There's trees, leaves, rocks, and grass on the ground. We also notice that the user interface is all over the place. At the top of the screen, we have our compass. At the top right hand corner of the screen we have the journal for keeping track of quests. At the bottom right hand corner of the screen we have the notifications bar / combat log, followed by a couple of cooldown indicators. At the bottom center of the screen we have our inventory quick exit or hotbar, and then at the bottom left of the screen we have the health bar and mana bar and various other indicators. As Nightingale is a survival crafting game, one of the major aspects of the game is crafting. What we're looking at in this particular screenshot is not the crafting menu as such, but it is related to it. What we're looking at is the guidebook, which players will be referring to when they need information about which workstation that they need to construct, or how many resources that they need to construct a particular item. One side note here is that crafting in Nightingale is completely automated. Once the process begins, players do not need to continue to hold down any keys to complete a project. That's all the screenshots we have for this video, so we're now going to move on to our discussion of immersion. Here the game has earned a frankly impressive score of 9.5 out of 15. The game seems to rely primarily on 4 pillars for creating immersion. These are presentation, player agency, challenge, and statistics focus. The additional 2 items, audio and story, are somewhat hit or miss and are going to depend a lot on the player's familiarity with the references to A Midsummer Night's Dream and Dungeons & Dragons. Players that are not familiar with those will not find the game terribly immersive on that level. Let's now then move on to a brief discussion of difficulty. Here the game has earned a score of 5 out of 15. We'll come back to this a little bit more in the overall score section, so we won't dwell on this too much. We'll instead move on to our discussion of lasting appeal. The game has earned a lasting appeal score of 6 out of 15, which is not far off of average. From all of our evaluation sessions, the primary driver for lasting appeal seems to be variety, in the form of starting characters, starting conditions, and difficulty settings. Players that are familiar with the reference material may find that to be an additional source of lasting appeal. Now then, let's move on and compile everything into the overall score. Overall, Nightingale has earned a score of 6.83 out of 15, which some players may choose to round up to a 7 out of 15, which is very close to average. Have your salt handy and set your subjectivity filters to high, because our next statements are highly subjective. No matter how you slice it, Nightingale is an incredibly gorgeous game, and it's very easy to forget entirely about the quests and just get lost in exploring the world. On the other hand, the setting is not nearly as fantastical as Dungeons & Dragons would lead us to believe that the Feywilds should be. Without a mount system, the game world is far too big to explore in any reasonable amount of time. When all is said and done, Nightingale is an absolutely fantastic world that just has some issues with being a video game. And on that highly subjective note, we do congratulate everyone who watched all the way to the end of the video. Have you played Nightingale yourself or considered purchasing it? If you have, please leave any concerns or questions in the comments section below. Either way, we look forward to seeing you on the next one, and from 7th Circle Gaming, goodbye.